Hi, this is Alex Kantrowitz. I'm the host of Big Technology Podcast, a longtime reporter and an on-air contributor to CNBC. And if you're like me, you're trying to figure out how artificial intelligence is changing the business world and our lives. So each week on Big Technology, I bring on key actors from companies building AI tech and outsiders trying to influence it, asking where this is all going. They come from places like NVIDIA, Microsoft, Amazon, and plenty more. So if you want to be smart with your wallet, your career choices, in meetings with your colleagues, and at dinner parties, listen to Big Technology Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Mike Boileau of Lexicon Valley.
And I'm Bob Garfield. Are you one of those people who sometimes uses words?
Do you communicate or acquire information with, language?
Hey, us too. So join us on Lexicon Valley to chew over the history, culture, and many mysteries of English, plus some wisecracks.
Find us on one of those apps where people listen to podcasts.
Hey, I'm a medium, and this podcast is for those who wish to understand the wonderful world of spirit. Where do we go when we die? I'll share stories of mine as a medium and other mediums in our journeys, plus you will hear real-life client readings so that you can know without any doubt that your loved ones in spirit are around you all the time. I'm Jen, and this is the Singing Medium Podcast. Welcome back to the Singing Medium Podcast. This is going to be a very thrilling and exciting roller coastery episode because it's the last episode of 2021. And I think I did this last year as well on my old podcast called Elevate Her Soul. This is an extension of that, a transformation of that podcast from one idea to another. And last year at this time, I did a podcast episode about the energy or the psychic predictions for 2021. And I haven't listened back to that. I actually don't know if I can find that episode. So I'm wondering if I posted it somewhere else or if there's like an old blog post that we can go back and look at, because I don't remember what I said. But I'm sure some of the things came true, because if you guys don't know, I know I'm the singing medium, but I'm very highly psychic. And I have recently decided that I was going to take a break from doing personal psychic readings. And that doesn't mean that I'm not psychic anymore. It just means there's a little pause here. They may come back, you never know. But right now my focus is actually on the mediumship part of it. So just to reiterate, psychic information, if you have a psychic reading, it is about you and your life and the time frame upon which you exist upon. So say from your past life, even to when you transition, what happens next. Like, people think psychic is just about like your day-to-day life, and it depends on the person that I'm reading for, how deep I get in there. Like, for example, if you're very open to spirituality and you're more open to unknown realms and concepts that are not quote unquote logical, I will be able to tap into many past lives. I will be able to tap into, maybe your next life. And there's a million things that I can do inside of that reading that's very beneficial to you. So as opposed to a mediumship reading, which I'm sure you know is about your loved ones in spirit who have crossed over. But there are some people who actually don't know the difference. And I think with education and, a lot of us talking about the differences, people are starting to understand the difference, because I don't get that question as much anymore. Anyways, this episode is about the global energy for 2022. So it's not astrology. It's psychic. So there's a difference. So astrology would be focusing on the planetary energy. So Jupiter, Saturn, this kind of energy. And I am fascinated, by the way, with astrology. It fascinates me. But I don't know it well enough to do have a conversation about it on a podcast. So leave that to the experts. And so it's different. So psychic is a timeline. So it's about time, past, present, future. What happened in the past, what's happening now, and what is happening in the future based upon your thoughts, emotions, feelings, behaviors, childhood, wounds, everything. So many factors to it. Maybe one day I'll do an episode where I kind of explain in detail how it works. But for now, what I want to let you know is that I'm going to give you in this episode, so listen to the whole thing, because I'm going to go from like smallest to biggest, prediction, so the timeline, the time frame of 1 year for the world. So I'm going to try to break it down into categories, but I've made a list here of things that I've received over the past couple of months, and I've been saving them. So normally I would, when I get a few psychic predictions, or quote unquote, like people like to call them downloads, I will do a blog post, and I've been saving them because they're not coming in as fast and hard as they usually do. So I would say from 2020 to maybe about 6 months ago, I would get like bombarded by spirit and my higher self telling me, and spirit guides telling me what was going to come. And I would, because I think I was meant to do that rapidly and so consistently in that time frame of the pandemic, when it was like first starting, to help people not be too afraid, and sometimes people like to know what's coming and some people don't, which is fine. So you didn't have to subscribe to that or read that. But a lot of those things came true. So because it didn't come from my human brain, because the things that I was receiving on the timeline from the psychic realm, would never have crossed my mind. It's interesting that when I was receiving them, I wasn't afraid. And every time I would post one of the psychic experiences or these psychic predictions that were going to come down the timeline, down the pipeline, I guess, if you want to call it, I was always surprised that people were not afraid. People actually said to me, and I did some surveys and questionnaires. I'm like, are you guys liking this? Is this helping you? Because I always want to help. And they were like, yes, more, more, more. They wanted more because it made them feel better. To me, I was like, that's ironic that you feel better when you know the tsunami is coming, and you feel better when you know the New World Order is coming. Because that was one of the predictions that I had right at the beginning. So like March 2020, I got a ton of stuff and I posted it right away, and I didn't understand any of it, but I know I wasn't afraid. So it's really important that you're not fearful. I know sometimes it can be hard as a human to control your fear or let the fear come through you and release it. But, it's just very interesting how people receive this information. And as always, you're your own psychic. You're your own. So if I say something in a post or I do this episode, I'm like, okay, this is going to happen. I totally invite you to feel into it. Like, close your eyes. Does this resonate with me? And if it doesn't, that's okay. And things are with psychic, it's a little bit tricky in the psychic realm because things are changing. It's like the multiverse. It's like things are always changing. Like one person could make a decision that would change the course of humanity. It's just, anyways, there's a lot of detail to it. But before I get into the world/global psychic predictions for 2022, I want to share a couple of things with you. And the first thing I want to share with you is how you can have an experience with me personally if you were interested in at all at developing your own personal psychic gifts, your own mediumistic gifts, because there are so many of you who are, I call it, coming online. You're coming online, you're remembering that you have these abilities built in, like you're a toolbox and you have all these tools and you weren't really aware of them, or you might have been aware of them and now you're hyper aware of them. You're like, what happened to me? Right? And you might be feeling things that you never felt before, or maybe hearing things or seeing things that are a little bit unconventional according to your human mind. And this is the universe's way of like expanding your awareness. Like, it's like an invitation. Let's not be so human. I mean, human is never a bad thing, obviously. We're here to have experiences, like human experiences, but it's really important that you also try to see things you can't see with your human eyes, with your physical eyes. And I know it sounds a little bit weird, but if you're already working on your spiritual gifts, pat yourself on the back, because it's just going to get stronger from here on out. And one of the ways you can do that, or exercise those really important muscles and develop your spiritual knowledge and your wisdom and your innate gifts that you're actually born with, is to work with a mentor. So whether that's me or another mentor you're drawn to, always use your intuition of who you're pulled towards. And that's who I work with, someone who is pulled toward me. The funny thing about working with me is that it's never can be forced, or with anyone, it can't be forced. You should never force anything because it always gets messed up. But what happens usually over the past 5 or 6 years I've been doing this is that people will say to me, I had never heard of you before, and all of a sudden you're all over my social media. And it used to be Facebook. I was posting a lot more on Facebook back then. You're literally all over my Facebook feed and I never heard of you. And some people have actually told me they had dreams about me. They have dreams. You're in my dream. It hasn't happened lately, but in the past, people have messaged me randomly, people I don't even know, say, I had a dream about you. I don't even know who you are, but I feel like I really need to have a conversation with you, or, tell me more about yourself, or what do you do and how can you help me? Right? So that is Spirit's way of bringing you the people that you're meant to work with. Right? And like I said, never force anything. Like, that's why I always say, if you're going to do a reading with someone, I always say, well, does it resonate with your insides? Does it feel there's a pull there, right? And you can go on social media and someone's like, oh, how about this person? Go look at this person's social media and see if you like them. And right away, I'm like, nope, nope. But they'll have like 5,000 followers and a 1-year wait list. And I'm like, nope, because I know like right away that discernment, that intuitive nudge, I know right away. And that's what happens when you start working on your gifts, is that nudge and that understanding of the energy of the person's energy, whether you resonate or match with it or not, will become very, very clear to you. So that being said, if you work with me, there's only a couple ways you can work with me now, actually, because I have decided this year I'm opened actually my own school, and it's called Spirit School 2.0, and it's already underway by the time you hear this, and the students in there are very excited to get started, and so am I. I'm actually planning things. I never plan things, you guys. I'm always like, people might call it seat of your pants, but I call it spirit led. So I have decided that I am actually going to now like make a conscious effort this year to make a plan, and plans are always subject to change, right? And I'm not being regimented by this plan. So if I put the schedule up for January, I'm like, okay, on Monday, January, whatever, we're going to do this, and spirit changes it, but it still has to do with what we've decided to do for the month of January. I'm going to talk about that. Right? So that's, for example, for this episode, my intention is to talk about the psychic predictions. Well, I promise I will get to them. Everything's connected, remember? Everything is connected. So just remember that. I just totally, completely lost my train of thought. It happens when you're psychic and you're a medium and spirit wants to come in and you ask spirit to help you talk about something that's very important. You can kind of lose your train of thought because it's not about your brain. Anyways, I'm planning things, and so that's not me, but that's my intention for this year. So my intention is to do less things. So before I had like 10 services. I did psychic readings. I did past life readings. I did Reiki. I did Reiki teaching. I did Reiki healing. I taught mediumship. I taught psychic development and all these things. I was like, oh my gosh, it was like overload. And so I have decided a conscious choice to do one or two things. So now they're kind of a limited version of a way of working with me. And so one of them is private mentoring. So you can one-on-one private mentor with me online, of course, and we can work on your mediumship. We can work on your development of psychic. We can work on meditation. We can, whatever spirit and you are kind of pulled to do, we can do that. The other way you can sort of like hang out with me and talk to your loved ones is to have a mediumship reading. So we can sit in connection and I will talk to your loved ones for you. And it's not, okay, here's the thing. This is going to lead to my story that I want to tell you before. And this is getting to be longer than I thought. So I hope you're still listening and you're waiting and not fast forwarding to the good part, because this is the good part. So in a mediumship reading, and this actually happened with the psychic reading today, because it was like my last psychic readings I'm doing this last week of December that people booked a while ago, and they panicked because I said I wasn't doing them anymore. So when I talk to your loved ones in spirit, there's other things they can do as well. And also in psychic reading, I'm able to do a lot more things too than just connect with your timeline. So one of the ways you can work with me is mentoring or mediumship readings. Right now, not psychic readings, but you never know in the future, and you never know when a class is going to pop up. But if you're listening to this and it's going to come out December 31st, actually coming out New Year's Eve. If you feel really called to Spirit School, I will consider that option of you coming in there, because Spirit School, and I think I've said this before, is that people have told me, and I feel very highly connected to this as well, is that it's going to be something bigger than, let's say you go to another school. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? It's like not going to be what you think, what your programming is, what your beliefs are about going to a spiritual school. It's going to be different. It's going to be something bigger. Okay. You're going to get something big out of it. So that's the last way you can work with me for like a day or two. Okay. So before I get into those global psychic predictions. I know you're waiting to hear about. I want to tell you the story, the Steve story. So I've changed the name, obviously, but this just happened today, and I asked permission from the client to share this story. So going back to like, I can do more things than just talk to dead people and do more things than just tap into your timeline. And the more that I do these readings and the more that I meditate and the more that I consciously raise my awareness and, you know, ask for protection and connect with divine energy, it's like I'm getting access to more gifts. So more gifts of mine are coming online that I didn't know I had, that I just forgot about, that we're all born with. So whatever I talk about, you can do it too. You just need training and commitment and all these good things that we need to do. So I'm changing the name of the person to Steve. Okay. So I did a reading for a lovely woman, and she has a friend or a partner who lives in a different country than her. And she was, because in a psychic reading, you can ask questions. And so she asked me a question about, is she going to ever see him again because he lives in a different country? Is she going to be with him? Which is a regular psychic question that you can ask. And as soon as she asked that, all of a sudden I could hear clairaudiently in my head on my right side, which is masculine side, which is usually where males stand. But this person is alive. Okay. This person is alive and well. And the good part about this is that he was very spiritually connected. So if you say you asked this question and your partner lived in another country who was very closed off and didn't believe in any of this kind of thing, it wouldn't probably happen. It would be harder to do. So anyways, I connected with her partner, who we're going to call Steve, and I could hear him saying things as you would talk in this specific country. So I don't want to give away the details because for privacy reasons, but this man was talking the way you would in a different country. And then I started talking like that. So what happened was I connected with her partner, who she hasn't seen in a long time and talks to all the time, and who's very open. And he began telling me things. Like, it was like she asked the question and he answered it, and I told her what he was saying. So remember, this man is alive. This man is alive. And, you know, before it was I could talk to people who were alive, who were over 80 with dementia. And now it's become, I can talk to anyone. I can talk to a partner. I can talk to children are starting to get very chatty with me in readings who are still alive. Like if I talk to a mom and their kids will come in and tell me what they want, and these beautiful, lovely, help them understand better. So this man just kept telling me all these beautiful answers, like, I love you, I want to marry you, I want to give you a ring, I want to be together, I'll do anything, you know, all these things. And it was just so, so profound that it was, I have to take a drink of water, hold on. Sorry about that, I don't like doing that, but I don't want to be choking in the podcast episode. So anyways, that was cool to begin with, that I could do that and she could validate that. And actually during the reading, he actually messaged her. So in this country, it's like, it was like 9 a.m. So it's like 9 o'clock at night, or it's nighttime in this country where this man lives. And so he sent her a message as we were doing the reading and said, I had a dream, I think, or a funny feeling. And I'm gonna sort of see if I can look at the message here so I don't forget the context. And it was very, very cool. And you guys got to hear this story. And I don't want to play what I was playing before because I'm going to show you guys something funny. Okay. So I have permission to do this. Okay. And so he said, it was like I was trying to have a conversation and say something, but my speech was muffled. And there was someone else with the person I was trying to speak to who was female, but I didn't know who it was. So he felt it was a dream. And this is the first time I've got evidence that my communication with people who are alive and telepathically communicating with people is actually, I'm not making anything up, not that I think I was before, actually was confirmed that I did this. So now if you're very logical or sciencey and you're what is she talking about? So this is what I'm talking about, is that you have to expand your consciousness. You have to get out of your box. You have to get out of your mindset. You have to get out of your limitation of like, that's not possible. It actually is. Telepathic energy, telepathy is real. And it happened. So this was the first time this man, I got confirmation that this happened. So he described it as he's had a dream about it. So at 9 a.m, when I'm talking to his higher self, his consciousness, his soul, his true essence, who loves this woman unconditionally, who lives in another country, while I'm doing this telepathically, he's sleeping and giving me this information. So it would kind of make sense if you think, because if he's sleeping, he's not going to be so, he'll be more open, right? To talking to someone, a medium or psychic from across the globe. So I thought that was really cool to share with you and Steve. That was so cool. And she actually told him what it was. And I haven't seen the response of like what he said about that, but I love that he believes. And so that means he's very open to our conversations. And the thing is, when you tap into someone's consciousness, you obviously have to ask permission. But he, like, his higher self literally volunteered to talk to me. And it was so cool that he talked about the way they talk in this country. I was like, what does that even mean? And the client had to explain to me that this was what I was like, wow, there's like so much evidence that this actually happened. So I thought that was so cool. And I think that also, like, the children, so if, like, again, I said, if you're a mom and you have a reading with me and your kids are at school or they're even in their room sick or whatever at the time of their reading, they're very open. They are super open. And so what's happening is now their consciousness, their higher selves are communicating with me. We'll do that another time, but I wanted to share that really cool story with you before I get into the predictions, which I promise I'm going to do right now. Okay. So we're going to start small and go bigger. So I feel like we need a drum roll. Now, if you've been listening to the episodes in the past or you've read the blog, you know that they're pretty intense. So these ones are pretty tame compared to the psychic predictions for 2020. Okay. So I don't foresee any freakouts. There are some things, excuse me, that are happening on a human level in a very egoic energy with government and things like that. But I'm talking about the energy of things. Okay. So if you're like, well, I've already seen that plan. There's a secret plan that the government has put out there. And I talk about the energy of that. So it's already like out there. I'm not telling you anything new. It's just the energy of that. Okay, what I feel. So a lot of these psychic predictions are feelings and also visions and also, I guess, all of them, knowings, and I heard clairaudiently in my head. Now, the way I'll just quickly explain how I access this, I have to raise my consciousness level to receive this information. So I can't be like, I mean, it has happened. I can be driving and I'll get something, but it's mostly when I'm sitting quiet or when I'm just falling asleep, or when I've done some intense breath work, because I've raised my consciousness. I've got out of my fog of my brain. So if you're trying to be psychic and you're in your brain, you're going to have a really hard time. And that's something that you can work on with a mentor, right? So, okay. So let's see. Let's go. I have them on my phone here. So we're going to go like, I'll try to make them like lowest to like biggest, I guess. So the first one I'm going to tell you about is kind of, some of them are not super clear. They're just very sort of random, even though there's no randomness. So the first one I got a while ago is someone's going to invent a new way of building a building. So however people create or construct buildings and design them, there's going to be a new way of building and building a building. And the way I see this is like the Jetsons. So if you watch the Jetsons, and I think there is a psychic prediction blog post somewhere, there's a lot of them. If you go through the archives, there's a lot of them. So see if you can rifle through or sift through them. And there's one about the Jetsons. And this, as I say this to you guys, as I read it from my notes to you guys, to the microphone, to your ears, they show me the Jetsons. So I don't have an exact timeline, but within 2 years probably, or even a little bit longer, someone is going to invent a new way of building a building. And it looks like the Jetsons. So it would look futuristic. So what's happening now and the energy underneath all of this COVID crap is that we're becoming more futuristic. So all of those movies in the past that were like of the future and what this city could look like or this town could look like, this is starting to happen now. Okay. So probably our kids and their kids are probably going to see this more than we will, but there could be an announcement like, hey, someone is going to build this building and it's going to be like, it's kind of like Dubai. I think Dubai has like crazy buildings, but it's going to be different. That's beyond that. Okay. Think like beyond your scope. Think beyond what you know. So the next one is that daycares. This is interesting to me. And I don't think the timeline is 2 years. I think it might be a little bit longer than that. So here's my timeline: 6 months, 2 years, or 10 years. So if I do a reading or a psychic prediction and it doesn't happen within 6 months, it will be 2 years. And if it's not 2 years, it'll be 10 years. Okay, so there's a bit of a gap in there, but that's just how I work. So daycares will become like schools. So instead of having, that's the second one, by the way, number 2. Daycares will become like a school. So there won't be a need for daycares. It will either, and I don't think it's going to be like the daycare is going to be in the school, because I know there's already YMCAs in schools right now. This is different. This is like daycare. People think is daycare. Like, you know, when you sit there and I say the word daycare to you and you're like, oh yeah, daycare, diapers, very regimented. It's very regimented. I used to work in daycares as an early childhood educator. It's very regimented. There's like so many rules you have to follow. It's unbelievable. But it feels like it's going to relax and turn into a school. So instead of calling it a daycare, it won't be called daycare anymore. It will just be school. So like toddler to preschool, it will be called something else. They haven't told me what it's going to be called because it's still in the works. But it's going to turn into schools. So if that makes sense to you. So it won't be so daycare-ish. It will be schools. And I have a feeling that the ECEs that are trained, I know some of them because I used to be in the school board too. There's a reason why they're trained the way they're trained, because they're actually going to help initialize and create this new way of daycare. It's not going to be the way the daycare has always been, because I feel like daycare is a little bit off in the energy, the way it's run. Very like, I don't know. I've been in a couple daycares. I've worked in Montessori. I've worked in, I don't know what's called. I can't think of what's called. Reggio. I've worked in Reggio schools. So it'll probably become more nature. A lot more nature schools are going to be, and it's going to be school, not daycare. Okay. The number 3 is there's going to be a new phone created. So not iPhone, not Samsung, not the other one. I call it Huawei. The Huawei, I don't know what it's called. It's going to be a whole other brand of a phone. Now, for like argument's sake, I don't read the news. I don't look at things. So if this is already happening, I don't know. This is just what Spirit has told me is coming in the future. I don't look for information. It comes to me. So sometimes people are like, oh, this already happened. I'm like, okay, it's already happened. But what they're telling me is there's going to be a new phone. And I think it's going to be like a square. It looks like a square. Last night, actually, this reminds me, I had a dream about my old BlackBerry last night. So maybe BlackBerry is going to come back. I don't think so. I think it might be an affiliate company of like a major phone company. So just watch for that. There'll be a new kind of phone. See, not so scary. These are kind of tame, right? You guys can handle a new building, a daycare become a school, and a new phone. You guys can handle this, right? The next one is Peloton. Peloton. Okay, so here's the funny thing. I had to Google how to say it. You ready? This is how you say Peloton. Ready?
Peloton.
Wait for it.
Peloton.
Peloton. Okay, so Peloton. Now, if you watch Just Like That, so it's a spin-off TV show on Netflix of Sex and the City. Now, if I don't want to ruin it for you, but Mr. Big dies because he has a heart attack on a Peloton. And spoiler alert, I should have said that first. It's all over TikTok, okay? You already know. And anyways, the energy of that show of him having a heart attack on Peloton, for some reason, is going to cause Peloton to go under. And it's not like the show's fault. Well, it's like a preview. There's something going to happen with Peloton. So if you're buying a Peloton, maybe you don't. I see a lot of Pelotons on sale or being sold, like used ones coming up. And I see this big warehouse full of Pelotons because they're like, oh, we're going to have so many people want these Pelotons, and then they're just going to sit there. So if you're thinking of buying a Peloton, maybe consider that. You know, again, these things aren't written in stone, or as I used to say, they're not written in gold. So these things could change at any time, but this one feels like this is going to happen like in the next couple of years. Now, let's see what is like less so you're not going to freak out. Speaking of Just Like That in Sex and the City, Chris Noth, is that how you say it? Chris North, I don't know. He's going to go to jail. Or he's going to have like a big lawsuit. And I think that's already in the works right now because I know that's in the news. But he's going to like tank. His whole career is like done. So they told me that. Okay. Let's see. So we've got a new way of building buildings. Daycares are going to become like school. Number 3 is a new phone. Number 4 is Peloton's going to go under. And number 5 is TikTok and I don't think this has happened yet, TikTok will be hit with a massive lawsuit, but they're going to win. So TikTok is just going to get bigger. Like, it feels like Facebook is going to be threatened by TikTok in like, oh, you're not as cool anymore, which is not. And yeah, it's going to change. So TikTok is going to be like taken over. It's going to be taken over and taking over all the social media pretty much. So I would like sort of branch off. If you have a spiritual business or any business, I would start TikToking. Just get in there now and get established. So if you want to go on TikTok and follow me, I'm called Elevate Her Soul on TikTok. I have like 300 whole followers. So yeah, I haven't posted on there a lot. I do more reels on Instagram, which if you want to follow me on Instagram, elevate.hersoul, I do a lot of funny reels on there. And because I like to have fun. I think this work needs to be fun. Okay, so we're having fun here. Okay, so that's number 5. And number 6, batteries will become obsolete. This one is like a mind bender. And my brain is like, how are batteries going to become obsolete? I don't know, okay? I'm a psychic, not a scientist, so I don't even know how this is going to happen. But it feels like they're going to invent something that is better than batteries. So like battery in your phone, battery chargers, battery you put in your Santa Claus that climbs a ladder and sings Merry Christmas on your Christmas tree, which I have. There's going to be something else besides batteries. Okay. So that 5 or 6, I think I don't remember what I said. Okay. So now let's get into like the major kind of things. There's not that many actually. Let's see. Okay. I'm trying to go from like lowest to, okay. So then there's going to be a lot more spiritual awakening happening. And I don't mean like, hey guys, I'm coming out of the matrix. I mean like on a massive scale. So this mass spiritual awakening, which is part of the main reason, the energy behind COVID, and is to wake the hell up. And if you're not awake yet, you're going to soon. And some of you are not going to, and it's cool. It's not like we're better than you because we're awake and you're not. Has nothing to do with that. It's it's like people are going to massively wake up. And I don't mean I don't mean conspiracy theories. They're going to wake up to their own spiritual truths. They're going to remember, it's like a computer that has been sleeping for 50 years and all of a sudden the computer turns on. You're like, what is that? And you remember all this information. Okay. You're going to remember your who you are, who your truth is, what your truth is, who you really are, meditation, astral travel, things that you can't see. You're just really going to come online. So more people are going to do this, which is going to result in more spiritual businesses. Now, the thing with the spiritual business things really irks me, some of them, is because they're not, some of the stuff people are posting is not. So again, if you're waking up, I always invite you to feel, like I said at the beginning of this episode, is like feel into the energy of social media and what people are posting. There's a lot of garbage. And sometimes I post random stuff too that maybe not be like life altering, but just really pay attention to the energy of the person you're following and, what's their intention, And I don't mean they're out to get money. I don't mean that. I just mean there's some fake, oh my God, I could get into such another episode about this, but there are, as I've talked about before, there are these things that you cannot see. So they're called entities or like shadowy beings that are on full force right now. And some of them like to take over these spiritual businesses. And basically some people become like puppets, and these entities are like puppet masters and get them to say things that are not true. Okay. So you have to really use your discernment and don't fall for it. And I have like a flag. Every time I see something, I'm like, nope, nope, nope. Yes, that person is very true and organic. So organic energy, and it's even more than authenticity. It's like, are you organic? Are you showing up organically? Yeah, I do silly reels, but that's because I have a story and or a belief that I'm a funny kind of girl, and I like to entertain people. That's who I am, and that's who I believe to be. But there's like more under the surface. Okay, so just be aware of that. Let's see. So I lost count of the numbers. So I don't know what number I'm at, but we're just going to keep going. So there will be more evidence for alien contact or the truth about aliens. So there will be even more evidence where almost everyone that you cannot not believe, you won't be able to not believe anymore that aliens are not real. I'm not saying they're going to like show up. I mean, if you want to argue, they're already kind of here. Not always the good ones either. But, there's going to be more evidence revealed, like documents. Because right now, I know there's been stuff revealed and proof, but there's no proof. Like, we want to see the aliens. Like, show me the aliens, okay? See, I already know that I believe in things that I can't see, but there's still a lot of people on this earth who need to see proof. Show me the proof, right? Whereas being a medium has taught me I don't need to see the proof. I just know things. I don't know how I know. I just know. Okay. So there's more of that going to happen too, but there's going to be more evidence for alien contact, and specifically Area 51, Area 51 and the Bermuda Triangle somehow. Okay. There's also going to be a return to Atlantis, Spirit just told me. What? That's not on my list, dude. A return to Atlantis. So you're going to see, I'm going to just trust me. You're going to see a lot more triangles. I'm not even sure if triangles have anything to do with Atlantis. The lost city of Atlantis, you've heard of that. Something about triangles, so pay attention to that. Like there's going to be evidence of this somehow, some way, somehow, some who, I don't know. Then on my list here too, so I've gone through that. So Hollywood is going to be on fire. Hollywood's going to catch on fire. I don't know if it's actually going to catch on fire, but it could be symbolically. So Hollywood, as you see what's going on, it's being uncovered, and people are like, oh, Beyonce is an alien. And just feel into that. And don't use your logic brain for these kind of things. You have to use your insides. You got to trust the inside of you. So if Spirit is showing me right now, like you're this body, but like what's on the inside of you besides the blood and the bones and the cells and the whatever, what's that energy inside of you that's making all these things move? It's not your brain. Part of it's your brain, obviously. But Hollywood's going to be on fire. And for every time I've been in the car this week, I've heard a song about fire. So whenever I get a song on the radio and it's repetitive and I get the claircognizant, which is the knowing, that means something's going to catch on fire. Oh, that's what it was. There's also a warehouse that it's going to catch on fire. I missed that one on my list here. Major fire in a warehouse in the States. Okay. So this could be like, think of the energetic reason. Feel about the energetic reason why Hollywood would quote unquote catch on fire. And the song like liar, liar, pants on fire. Okay. That comes to my mind right now. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Okay. So it's going to be a massive fire. Just, it's hot. Don't go there. It's too hot. It's evil. We don't want to go there. Okay. A shift. See, you're still not so bad, right? Okay, it's good. And there is going to be a shift from pharmaceutical drugs to pharmacy, like E-I-E-I-O, from the farm. So what's going to happen, there's still going to be people who are going to want drugs and they need drugs, and that's okay, and doctors and stuff like that. But it's going to like tip the scales over more, because right now it's like everyone's going to the doctor, and like maybe 2% of the population are going to naturopaths and, changing their diet and just creating, and I want to say planting sustainable food, but that's not it. Gardening, things like that, organic stuff. So there's going to be a massive shift. So instead of it being 2% of the population who only go to naturopaths and Chinese medicine and farm, F-A-R-M, the pharmacy, and growing their own vegetables, it's going to shift more, like maybe 10% of the population, which still isn't a lot, because that's a big number. 90% is still into pharmaceutical drugs. But when you start coming online, when you start waking up, you're gonna be like, I wonder what the cause of my dis-ease is. And you'll start questioning, like, maybe this pill, and again, I'm not a doctor, okay, disclaimer here, I'm a psychic, it's the energy of it. Maybe this pain, like Louise Hay said, and You Can Heal Your Life book, maybe this pain is something else. What is the root cause of my pain? So once you're waking up, you're going to start to question why you have cancer, why you have lupus, why do you have Crohn's disease, there's an emotional reason why you do. And when people are coming online, you're going to start to realize, and I'm not saying don't go to the doctor. I'm not saying you don't need a doctor. I'm just saying some people, there's going to be a balance between the two, which is beautiful. Always do what is best for you. Okay. I'm just saying some of the population is going to shift more heavily into pharmacy and, making their own gardens and eating that in communes, beautiful, beautiful spiritual commune communities are going to be popping up as well off the grid. So that's bringing me to my next one is beautiful communities are going to pop up, but the tough government laws are going to be tough government laws around this when they start getting quote unquote popular, because they don't want people to be off the grid. They want people, can't control people who are off the grid, right? Okay. And I'm getting that in my readings a lot too. In my readings, I'm like, you need to move to, and I don't know if commune is the right word. Maybe I should Google like Peloton, but it's like a community of people who are like-hearted and spiritually based and pharmacy and the good kind of pharmacy, and going to create groups of people off grid and in communities and houses. And what am I seeing? I'm seeing visions of little tiny houses. So tiny houses are going to be very popular. This just came to me now. I mean, I know tiny houses are popular now, but they're going to get crazy popular. And like, I'm seeing sunroofs on them. So it'll have like a sunroof on top of the tiny houses somehow, and also moss. I don't know what that just happened, came into my energy. That wasn't even on my list. So, okay, now here's the kind of good news, bad news. Let me go through my list and make sure I've told you everything. This definitely is longer than I thought it was going to be. But I hope you're still listening, because let me tell you the bad news first, then I'll tell you the good news. Okay? So the quote unquote bad news is that I think I predicted this before, but do you ever see Snoopy? And if you're like older like me, you might have heard the Christmas song, like Christmas bells, those Christmas bells. So about the Red Baron. So the Red Baron song. So they were telling me last night falling asleep that something about the Red Baron. So I think that is Germany. I'm not quite sure. Is a European country. And also China is mad. Like I think that's in the news too, but like I can feel China is mad. They're just nasty. Oh, like the government is just nasty. They just want to blow everything up. They have all these crazy things, I think. Things we can't even fathom. Like we're like, how did you even think of inventing that? They've invented it. They're very smart, very intelligent. But there's some bad people who are taking advantage of this and just going to mess things up. So there is a highly probable energy of like a war. So, but I don't think it's going to involve Canada. The government will be involved somehow, but it won't affect us too much, I don't think. I hear not on my land. So it will not be on our land. It'll be in a different country, but there's going to be, I hear airplanes and I hear like like this kind of thing. So just watch for that. That might be more than 2 years from now. So we don't need to worry about that. Okay. That's literally only the worst thing I have on here. So this is a big change from 2020, right? Now, however, okay, so here's the good news is April, so April 2022 feels big, but good big. So like people are like, I know you heard this before and I always talk about this. However, just bear with me. In January 2020 was the last time I traveled. I was in Peru. And I told the story before when I was there in the Amazon jungle, I could feel the earth talking to me, and she was so angry. And I was like, oh my God, she's going to do something crazy. And now look, like I just knew something was coming. I had no idea what it was. I'm glad they didn't tell me, Spirit didn't tell me what it was, because I would have freaked out. If I had known that was my last trip, I would have freaked out. Okay. So that's for the highest good. What's for the highest purpose here? In that moment, don't tell Jen what's a coming. But I knew something big was coming, and I knew Mother Earth, Mother Gaia was very upset, and that there was going to be an increase in weather, which I did predict in the past one, like crazy weather. So there has been, right? In places that you never, like those tornadoes that happened in the States a few weeks ago, like that has never happened. That many tornadoes. She's just mad. She's mad at us, okay? But in April, there's going to be a change regarding travel. So I'm still not going anywhere right now. Probably I'm going to give it a year and a couple years or so before I use my passport again, which is probably expired now because I think I only had it for 5 years. Anyways, April, I feel something is going to shift. Now, remember I talked about astrology, that I don't know a lot about astrology, but I think something astrologically is going to happen, if I recall, and my energy is that, in my feeling, is that there's something big happening in April/May, but I think more April, like towards the end of April. So it feels happy. And 2 years ago, I did predict, I remember one of my predictions was there's going to be parades. Like people are happy, like the Hunchback of Notre Dame kind of cartoon movie of a celebration showed up. And then I was looking back, I'm like, well, they probably showed me all the protests and the peaceful protests and things like that, but that doesn't feel happy to me. So I still think there's going to be happy parades, okay? But there's still some yuckiness, as we know. If you read the news and you like follow Chris Sky, stuff like that, you know there's yuckiness coming. You know there's a plan coming. So the best thing that we can do is be in the present moment, number one, and practice being present as much as possible, okay? So meditation, getting quiet, just being in your body, okay? Number two, meditation, meditation, meditation. Number three is to be conscious of your fear. When you start to feel afraid, don't shove it down because that will cause energy in your body you don't want. But to allow the fear to come up. Be like, you know what? Fear, I'm going to face you head on, right? So if I hit in the middle of the night, I'll get like these thoughts about like, oh my God, you're going to jail. And oh my God, like ridiculous thoughts. And I'm like, you know what? Before I'd be like, go away, fear. Now I'm like, bring it on, fear. And I face it head on instead of running from it. This is really important that we start doing this because we're resisting. If we're resisting, then it's just going to get bigger, right? So I'll face it and then I allow that fear. I'm like, I'm afraid. And I let it build up in my chest. And all after like 5 minutes of feeling this, it goes, I have this biggest yawn and it goes out of my body. Okay. So hopefully, those are pretty good. Those are pretty good predictions, I think, except for maybe the war and a couple little things. But it's nothing like 2020. But I don't want us to get too like, oh, everything's going to be better. I don't think it's going to be. You know what? It's better. If you can make your life better, your own personal life, your own self, you can work on your love skills and loving people instead of hating on them and fighting with them and not letting them come for Christmas dinner because you know why, because they're not this and you're not that. And the less we do of that, the sooner this goes away. Like, I know this podcast isn't widespread. Like, psychic prediction podcast episodes of mine are the most popular, but still, it's like 100 people. So out of you 100 people, if you share this podcast, or you leave a review, or you like, or you subscribe, or whatever it is you do to this podcast, will grow and more people will hear this, and they're going to hear this message that if we stop doing this, this will go away. We have to love the crap out of other people, and we're not doing that yet. So when someone says on Instagram that they're in 5D or you're in 5D, no, you're not. You're not in 5D because 5D is unconditional love. It's ease, it's flow, it's helping, it's compassion, it's all these beautiful divine emotions and energies. And oh no, we're not in 5D. I don't believe that at all. We could move there. And like I said, it's tipping the scales. We're closer to it, but we haven't matched that energy yet. So again, this is something that I firmly believe, but maybe you believe something different, and that is wonderful that you believe something different. I love that you believe something different than me. Okay? So one more thing before I go, besides you can work with me, you can go back and read the blogs, you can subscribe to this podcast, you can write a review, which help a lot. I really appreciate everything that you do. And one more thing is that I need you to also be aware of your aura. Okay? These nasty little critters are making us sick. And these invisible critters that you guys can't see. And, maybe you don't subscribe to that. And it's not a fear thing. They're created and manifested because of our nastiness, okay? So I want you to be very aware of that. And me personally, every month I get this beautiful healing, most amazing healing I've ever had remotely from my friend Jackie. And I had one last night. So I had a bunch of crap on me in my aura again. And you don't have to be a medium to have this crap in your aura, okay? It's like gunk. It's like plaque on your teeth, okay? It's just going to come there, but you got to clean it off. So she's beautiful healing for me, and so many beautiful messages came through, and it's a quantum healing, I believe. She calls in Divine Mother, she calls in Divine Father, whatever that means to you, and just removes all of this gunk from my aura. And I can start to feel, I know when I need a clearing because I start to feel sick. I start to get sniffly, And as soon as I get the sniffles and I feel heavy, I ring her up. I'm like, yo, Jackie, can you please clear me? And the next day, I'm completely fine. I'm light as a feather. I'm happier. I'm not grumpy. I can tell when I get heavy because I get grumpy on Instagram. My stories get kind of grumpy. You can tell when I need to clear my aura. So pay attention to that. And if you guys want to get a beautiful healing from Jackie, I 100,000, 20 million, bajillion% recommend her. So send me a message. She is Exist to Love on Instagram. She doesn't have a website yet, but this woman will change your life. It's like a miracle. She doesn't charge enough. I'm like, your healings are worth $1 million. So want to put that out there. Okay. So thank you guys so much for listening. This went way longer than I thought it was going to, but that's okay. We got to get it all out there. And I think this is pretty good news, but there is still some yucky heaviness that is behind the scenes, which we can change if we just love each other. I'm not a love and light kind of girl. I am not like, hey guys, let's love and light each other. I don't do that. I'm not saying I don't. We're all love and light in our true essence. We don't have to go around saying that. If you are love and light, you don't have to say. If you're authentic, you don't have to go around saying, I'm authentic, Jen. You don't have to tell me that because I will know. I will feel that from you. Okay? So, as always, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for listening to the Singing Medium podcast. And I'm not going to forget to put the music at the end here. So, stay tuned for next Friday. Every Friday, these are going to come out.